Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar today about music as a tool for mental health. My name is Beth. I'm currently a College of DuPage student studying to be a peer recovery support specialist, so a non-clinical um, mental health peer support. I am not a therapist, and this is not a replacement for any clinical support. So please keep in mind, this is just my lived experience and tools that I've used with managing my mental health conditions for 30 plus years. This original presentation was presented for NAMI, the Recovery Support Specialist training on 2/11/24. This is a recording of that presentation. Aspects of the presentation will not be available on the replay. We will put links in the presentation and in the notes for those who are looking at the notes. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me, and my contact information will be at the end. My pronouns are she, her. For those who are only listening to this or have visual impairments, I am a 40-year-old female with long brown hair with some highlights in it. I'm wearing a black zip-up sweatshirt, and my background is the Northern Lights dancing in the background. All right, so mental health as a tool. Please note there is a trigger warning for this presentation. It does contain adult language in the sound clips, and there are suicidal themes. So if either of those things are triggering for you, please check out a different webinar, or protect yourself or step out of the room or away from your computer if you need to. Please take care of yourself during this presentation. Your mental health is really important to me. Please make sure that you take care of yourself. All right, well, with that, we'll get started. So today we're going to talk about the power of music in expressing emotions, the role of music in empathy and understanding, music in peer support and recovery, non-clinical mental health support, and just kind of a wrap up. So first I'm going to play this clip. It is called I Am Not Okay by Citizen Soldier. Fun fact, the songwriter, one of the songwriters for Citizen Soldier, is a certified therapist. So many of their songs really resonate with folks who do have mental health conditions. If you're watching this in the replay, it's likely that you won't be able to get the sound because of copyright. So go ahead and go to YouTube or Google Citizen Soldier, I Am Not Okay, if you're watching the replay. All right. So if you're watching the replay, I hope you are able to play the song. If not, pause this right now and go ahead and listen to the song first before continuing. Okay, so hopefully you've done that. Hopefully you paused us and came back if you're watching the replay. For those of us who are in the room today, so what did that song feel like to you? Have you ever felt like this before? Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. So for those who are watching the recording, there's a lot of folks nodding their heads, raising their hands. Definitely resonates with many people in the room. Many of the folks around here are either helping folks with mental health conditions or have them themselves. So many folks have resonated with this song. What messages did you all hear in this song? What kind of themes did you hear? Mhm. Yeah. Good. Yeah, of course. Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, those are all great themes. For those who are watching the replay, what messages did you hear? Feel free to leave comments, or you can even message me afterwards if you wanted to participate that way. So for me, the song really brought out a lot of distress. The person who is listening to the song or interested in the song, or the main character in the song, is really distressed and not really sure how to express what they're feeling, but they know that they're not feeling okay. They're not balanced. To me, it sounds like suicidal ideations. It sounds like somebody who's been struggling with mental health for a long time, and they want help. They just don't know how to get the help they need. So if I came to you and I looked distressed and I handed you the song, do you think you'd be able to understand what I need or how to start helping me? Mhm. Yeah, a lot of head nods in the classroom here. Yeah, so this music is a way to express emotions that we may not know how to express. When I'm struggling with suicidal ideations, which I've struggled with since I was about 10 years old, um, I didn't always have a name for it. I didn't know what it was. Often, for me, I use the words like, I feel yuck, I feel imbalance, I feel wrong, something is wrong with me. The monsters in my head are screaming so loud. Um, those kinds of phrases really resonate with me. But I didn't always have the language for it. I have a really fantastic therapist that has helped me kind of work on my introception, or my internal signals, so I can label what I'm feeling. But until I had that therapist, which was just recently, I've gone through most of my life with therapists really struggling to connect with me because we really didn't know how to express what I was feeling. I just knew something was wrong. Um, but I use music as a way to communicate what I'm feeling, because I can tell you this song resonates with me right now. These are the emotions I'm having. I just don't know what they are. So, um, like I said, some of the words that stood out to me were the monsters in my head are screaming so loud. I'll never have the words. I can't explain this. And these lyrics to me really stand out as a struggle with someone who has alexithymia and a mental health condition. So alexithymia is a struggle with expressing your emotions. So there's a disconnection between what's happening in your internal world, your introception, understanding your body's sensations and how it feels inside, your introspection, so reflecting on your emotions and your mental health state, and then expressing those verbally to others to try and get support or help. So folks with alexithymia often have gone to therapy and it just doesn't work, or therapists don't really connect, especially when it's verbal based or talk based therapy. That's more of that top down. So tell me how you're feeling. How does that make you feel? Folks with alexithymia really struggle with those kinds of conversations, and that getting support from in that way. Although there are many ways to get support that don't require you to have those introception or introspection skills yet. Um, Alexithymia has high co-occurring instances with those with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, eating disorders, any sort of disorder that has disassociation with it. Because if you're disassociating, you're kind of stepping out of your body, and therefore um, you're not feeling what your body's doing. There's something off in your body, but you're not really feeling the feels. You're not really understanding what those are. So disassociation, anything with the disassociation, or, kind of drowning out the feelings or the emotions. So substance use disorder, it's very common to have it with that, because you're trying to numb all the things inside, all that pain, all that yuck. Depression, definitely that feeling of just kind of blah. um, Traumatic brain injury, it's really common with that because of the difference in the brain. Folks with ADHD, because their brains process feelings and emotions different, because they are neurodivergent, and various other conditions. For mental health conditions, it's very high co-occurring with folks with depression. Those are the folks that are most likely the ones that are going to have alexithymia. Um, although it is possible it can overlap with anything else. And it's important to note alexithymia isn't in the DSM. It's not a diagnosed mental health disorder. It's just a way of labeling what's happening when folks can't express their emotions or aren't really connected to what's going on in their body or understand how to describe it. People with autism and other neurodivergence have high co-occurrences as well as those with depression. Folks with autism actually have alexithymia at a rate of 10 times the general population. I'm going to say it again. Folks with autism have alexithymia at 10 times the rate of the general population. Studies have shown that as high as 80% of people with autism have difficulty identifying and verbalizing their emotions in neurotypical ways. And neurotypical meaning the majority way, or the way that most therapists or mental health providers are expecting. Folks with autism, ADHD, and other neurodivergent conditions, co-occurring conditions, dyslexia, dyspraxia, traumatic brain injury, all those things that fall into it. Their brains process things very differently than a brain that doesn't have those co-occurring conditions. So it makes sense, there may be some difficulty with that connection. Also, there's high overlapping with alexithymia, autism, and eating disorders. So it's interesting the different things that intermix with having alexithymia and mental health conditions. It's also really important to note that alexithymia is not due to a linguistical or cultural difference, meaning, some cultures and some languages just don't have the same words that we do in English. So if you are working with someone in English, or if you're receiving services in English and your native language is in English, not knowing what the English word isn't considered alexithymia. That's just a linguistical or cultural difference. There's also cultures that just don't talk about mental health the same way we do in English. So it's not about not knowing the words in a different language. It's about not understanding your internal signals and your internal body needs, and not really being able to reflect on what that means and what's happening. It is possible to both have alexithymia and not be a native speaker of English speaker and be receiving services in English. And I'm focusing on English because I am an English speaker, native English speaker, and the folks that I work with are primarily English speakers. But this could happen in other cultures as well. It could happen in other languages as well. So you have someone who's speaking like Pashto, they might also have alexithymia, but if they're receiving services in their native language and they're struggling, that's when it's alexithymia versus just, not being able to translate or interpret what they're feeling in a way that their provider or whoever's assisting them can understand. So when somebody says verbal focus support, like therapy, peer support, support groups, those kinds of things, didn't work for them, and they don't really know why. One possibility is alexithymia. Oftentimes, those folks are saying, I don't know, therapy just doesn't work for me. I don't know. Oftentimes, when you ask them to say, or ask them to reflect on, like, what did the therapist say, or what was happening in group where you just weren't sure what to do, or it didn't feel right. A lot of times the question is somewhere about, how are you feeling today? Or how does that make you feel? And, for me, my answer, I don't know. I feel ick. I feel off balance. I feel like something's not right, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to describe it to you. And if you can't communicate what's wrong, then someone who's trying to help you kind of find supports may struggle to help connect you with the right supports because they don't know what supports you might need. This is a chart that was from Bruce Perry and Oprah Winfrey's book, What Happened to You. It's a really great book that was actually shared with me in one of my classes. One of my professors shared it with me. And I think this chart is really important because it shows when your body is in different states or is activated, how your body typically reacts. Now, it's a little bit different for everybody. So, use this as a guide. It's not true for every single person. But this is in general what it kind of looks like. So if somebody's calm, they're regulated, um, their functional IQ typically tends to be very high, very regulated. People might say, "Oh, you're so smart," or "You're so good," that kind of thing. You can use your logical thinking or thinking brain, that cortex. So when you say like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm so stressed out because I lost my keys," having a conversation about, well, okay, what can we do to prevent that? Have a place to hang your keys. That kind of conversation would work as a support. As you move further down the line, where folks are alert, alarm, fear, and terror, when folks start going into those highly dysregulated states, they start temporarily losing their cognitive functional skills. Their functional IQ temporarily lowers. It can be up to 40 points that they could temporarily lose. And now, this obviously is based on what their baseline is, and, everybody's IQ is a little bit different. And some folks even believe that IQ is not really a great measure of intelligence. So please keep that in mind. But this is just kind of for demonstration purposes. So as somebody goes from calm to alert and so on, look how that changes at the bottom. If you want a reference point for what an IQ looks like, so to be legally considered developmentally disabled, having a excuse me, legally considered to have a developmental disability like Down syndrome, um, the IQ has to be 70 or below. So you can see in the fear and terror state, somebody who may normally have a higher IQ really needs things broken down very simply. They need it, you need to kind of step out of that thinking brain and into really that you're talking to them in a survival mode. Like they need short, quick answers. They may not even be able to be processing your words verbally, depending on how their body acts when it's dysregulated. For me, the further dysregulated I am, the less I can actually communicate verbally. I have selective mutism, or the more correct term for it now is called situational mutism, because in certain situations, my system just doesn't allow me to talk. It's not a choice. It just shuts down and I can't talk. I can't verbalize. I have created many supports so that my safe people, my partner, my friends know how to communicate with me differently. That's not verbally. They also know as I'm shutting down, yes or no questions are pretty much all I can answer. I do sometimes have the ability to communicate in sign language if I'm kind of in that middle zone. But even that, I lose that the further down I get in my dysregulation. So it's really important to know that, if you know somebody and, you've seen them every day and all of a sudden you see them in this dysregulated state, they may not be able to interact with you in the way that you expect. They may not be able to have a full conversation. They may temporarily lose skills or their abilities. Some folks, when they start being dysregulated, they can't take care of themselves. They can't brush their teeth. They can't make dinner. All those kind of basic help skills kind of go away because your brain is shutting down and getting into that survival mode. And so, those basic skills, especially verbal skills, kind of start going away. We've also seen with folks who are not native English speakers, so their native language is something other than English. Sometimes they revert to only being able to communicate in their native language or in their first language. And that's just part of that. When somebody's dysregulated, certain parts of your certain skills and functions start shutting down. Other things to note about this is um, as you start being more and more dysregulated, you lose that cognitive functioning. So, calm down, you're okay, isn't going to help. In fact, it's probably going to make someone more agitated because if they could calm down, they would. If they were regulated, they wouldn't need to hear that. Um, so you have to really consider where that person is right now while you're working with them, or if you're watching this because you're someone seeking mental health, or looking to seek mental health, or learning about it. Um, it's really important to realize that, if you're like, oh my gosh, why on certain days I can't, you know, write, or I can't speak, or, I can't get out of bed, or I can't take a shower. It should be simple. I do this all the time. And you start shoulding is what I say. I should be able to do this. I've done this a million times. Or, those words, you can't think of the right word. But before, like, you were very fluent, or you're really able to, express yourself. Please forgive yourself. You're okay. It just happens when we're dysregulated that some of those skills will temporarily go away. It's also very common when folks are diagnosed with autism, um, to lose some of those skills as they unmask, as they start trying to figure out who their true self is and what they were doing out of fear and out of alarm, and what they are doing because it was just them. So what they were trying to do to feel safe versus who they are, in a calm, regulated state. And it can be very different. Many folks have reported kind of losing some of those skills because they were survival skills they no longer need. Okay, so what does this have to do with music? Music can be a bridge to help regulate states and identify and communicate difficult emotions. Like the song that I played for you, the Citizen Soldier song. The emotions in there were really deep and really strong. And many people in the room here, and I imagine folks watching the replay, um, really understood that something was wrong. So that person needed support. You kind of knew the gist of what people are asking for, or the songwriter or the singer was asking for. You may not know exactly what it is, but it gives you a really good starting point to say, okay, you're struggling and it's something really deep. Let's try and figure out how to regulate so that we can get into that logical brain again and then get solutions to prevent this in the future. And oftentimes folks know, and I'll point it out though, as far as regulating states. So we can, in addition to using music to communicate our difficult emotions or what we're feeling and we don't have labels for, it also can be used to calm us down. So, you hear all kinds of like classical music is really good to calm folks down. For me, I have certain songs on a playlist that I often go to when I'm dysregulated and I don't know what's going on. I just know that I'm dysregulated. And I listen to it when I'm actually regulated, and I do the EFT tapping. So I can't do any of the tapping on my face, but I do it on my chest. Um, so then when I'm dysregulated, I already am going to those songs because that's my routine. Is when I'm dysregulated, first thing I do is go for music. And because I'm already tapping to those songs, when I'm regulated, when I'm dysregulated, it just becomes a habit. Like I don't even think about it. My hand just goes there and I start tapping. And if you're familiar with EFT tapping, it is a method that kind of helps activate or calm down your fight or flight system. It tells your body that you're okay, you're safe, you can calm down now. Especially like I have PTSD, so my body often sees danger when there isn't danger. It gets activated in times when I'm actually okay. So I have to manually tell my body, no, no, I'm okay. Like nothing's wrong. You just got triggered. It's okay. Like let's calm down. And one of those is to activate, or is to do the tapping and calm down your fight or flight system. Works with the vagus nerve, the nerve that kind of runs throughout your body. Um, so another way to use this is if you're helping support a friend or a family member, you're doing peer support or you're a mental health provider, you can pick a song and play it for them and say, is this what you're feeling? When somebody's in those kind of dysregulated states, it's like I said before, it's much easier to answer yes or no questions or nod your head or shake your head than explain how are you feeling or tell me about what you're feeling. Oh, I don't know. And now I'm even more dysregulated because I don't know the answer and I quote unquote should know the answer because it's my body and I know. Um, so just doing a conversation based on sharing songs, like I play a song, is this what you're feeling? That person might be able to go on their phone and find a song and say, this one. And then you can have that exchange that doesn't even have to have words. Even if the songs are not in English, if they're in a different language, a lot of songs can give off the emotion to get you in the right direction to either find help or talk about what kind of help you might need. Um, So, specifically for using music in peer support and recovery, or if you're supporting a friend or a family member, having music-based discussions, just like I said, you could exchange songs. Like, is this what you're feeling? No. Is this what you're feeling? Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Or you could also use it in, like, if you're in a group setting, doing a group playlist, having everybody put maybe a favorite song or a song that when they're really upset that they listen to, and a song that they listen to when they're really calm or happy. And you have that resource then as a playlist for folks so that they can exchange, use that as a tool when they're not with a therapist or with a peer supporter and group. Um, excuse me. You can also use it as a regulation tool. So if you're leading peer support groups, if you're working with someone one-on-one, if you have a family member or a friend that's dysregulated, you can play that calmer music and your body will start to kind of relax. Most folks, there's certain songs that should be relaxing for some folks, should but don't always have that same effect because everybody's body is different. But for the most part, that elevator music or piano music or kind of meditation music, all are intended to kind of calm down your system, send signals to your body to calm down. Um, Instead of just like saying, calm down, it's okay. It's a way that your body just kind of feels it and starts doing it. For most folks, again, it's not going to work for everybody, but it's definitely a tool that helps. So, folks in the room, what else can you use music for in peer support, in recovery support, or if you're working one-on-one with someone or with helping a friend or a family member? Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. Okay, for folks that are watching the replay or the recording, those who are on the recording, so somebody mentioned that you can use it as a way to kind of hone the environment. So like if somebody's walking, if you're like holding an event or a group or something, you can have it kind of set the stage, like have real calming music as people are coming in so that even if they came in dysregulated, it might help kind of calm them down before you start doing check-ins or before you start trying to communicate with them, which will lead to better conversations for sure if folks are more regulated. Wonderful. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Again, I'm gonna repeat for the folks who are watching, online or in the replay. So this one was mentioned, combining music with motion. So creating music, having drum circles or having, what did you say? Oh, the singing bowls. Yeah. Using it as a way, combining music with movement is really great, especially for folks who may not be able to label their emotions. Those movement-based supports often help with that regulation and then helps kind of get those emotions out and kind of process. So yeah, that's great. I love, for me personally, I tend to combine my music support with movement, whether it's breathing or kind of dancing. My son and I do what I call he's a little guy. We do what's called kitchen dancing. That's our name for it. So we turn the speaker on in the kitchen while I'm cleaning, and both of us kind of dance around the kitchen while we're doing chores. It kind of makes the chores go by a little faster, and it kind of gets us moving and If you can't be in a bad mood when you're dancing around the kitchen. So, especially with a little guy. Yeah, yeah. So I love that, combining the music with the motion. That's fantastic. It's definitely something I enjoy doing. Okay, so I'm gonna play this song for you. This one is called "The Real You" by 3 Days Grace. 3 Days Grace is one of my absolute favorite bands. I'm excited to share this with you. For folks who are online or watching the replay, go ahead and YouTube this and listen to it. You won't be able to listen to it through this because of the copyright again. But it's a fantastic song. So it's totally worth. Please pause now if you're watching the replay, or if you're watching live, then go ahead and run to YouTube. I'll wait for just a moment so you can get the music in there. Okay, so hopefully you've paused, you've listened to it, or if you're in person with me, we've listened to it. So what kinds of words stood out to you on that one? Mhm. It's a really good song. I agree. Yeah, it's a really great song. So words that stood out to me is I see the real you. So I really see you. I see that you're struggling. I understand your struggle. I'll show you the road to follow. So as a peer support, peer recovery support specialist, or as just helping a friend or a neighbor, being that support person, being that safe person for someone who's struggling. Knowing that there's someone who's going to walk alongside you and guide you, coach you, um, be there with you so you're not alone during these hard times is really, really important. So that's a huge message of this one. I'll pull you away from sorrow. So um, if I was, in distress and I gave maybe my therapist or my best friend or my partner the first song, oftentimes they'll send back either quotes from the song or the song itself to remind me that I have people who care about me, I have support, and they're going to carry my load for just a moment so I can get some relief from that, so that I can kind of use my tools, pull myself back up, get regulated, and then I can kind of process and deal through whatever is happening or whatever I'm struggling with. I need you to know that it's all right. That was a really powerful line for me. And I have a really good friend that tells me that all the time. I need you to know that it's all right. It's all right to cry. It's all right to be mad. It's all right to feel whatever you're feeling. You have a right to feel your feels. Um, and I think for me growing up, I was told many times that I was oversensitive, or, I shouldn't be crying. It's not something to cry about, or those types of things. And I think, when I grew up, that's kind of what my parents grew up with, kind of, now we call it invalidating feelings, but at the time that's kind of what they did, don't, save your tears for the pillow, as they say on dance moms. Um, we hide our emotions. And even now, I think sometimes our culture kind of frowns upon showing emotion, like don't show emotion, be stone faced, don't show people what you're feeling. But we know that when you keep those feelings inside and they get all bottled up, that's when we start struggling, that's when we explode, that's when things happen that um, are not safe for us, whether it's substance use or mental health conditions or self-harm, or all of the things that happen, binge eating, all of those things that happen when we're dysregulated and we don't know what's going on in our body, but we're full of something and we don't know how to fix it or address it. And we start using those coping mechanisms that are detrimental to us or hurting us versus helping us. So for me, I need you to know that it's all right. Tells me that I can lean on that person and they're going to sit with me, and they're okay with me crying. They're okay with me being mad. They're okay with me screaming. They're okay with me shutting down and needing to not be able to talk. They're okay. It's all right. We'll get through it together. I'll show you the road to follow. It's really, really important. So to me, this song really empathizes that empathetic connection. Like, I'm going to sit with you in the dark. I'm going to sit with you through this. We're going to work on it together when we're ready, but feel whatever you need to feel, and I'm here. Those words are really important, especially like if you have someone who's struggling and the first song really resonates with you. this is a really good reply for that. I'm here, I'm going to support you, I'm going to get you through this night, and then we'll figure it out from there. I don't want you to be alone with this. I'm here. I care about you. I think it's a really powerful message to me. So, mental health provides a powerful tool for expressing and understanding complex emotions that are associated with mental health. It fosters empathy and connection and facilitates communication and support for those who might have communication differences, whether it's a language difference, whether it's alexithymia or other communication differences, whether it's somebody who just is so shut down that they can't verbalize, or maybe it's somebody who uses assistive technology to communicate, an AAC device, alternative and augmented communication, or someone who uses picture communication. Music is just another tool that you can add to that toolbox to add a level of communication so that people can connect and get the support that they need. Music also plays a valuable role in peer support settings, and one-on-one settings, group settings, or if you're helping a friend or a neighbor or a family member. It can help promote co-regulation. Co-regulation is, an outside regulation. Self-regulation is like me. Okay, I'm going to calm myself down. I'm going to do my EFT tapping. Co-regulation is somebody else helping me, either reminding me to calm down, maybe playing a song for me, talking with me, kind of helping de-escalate that dysregulation so that I can kind of get back into that logical mindset and work on anything that might need to be worked on, or just feel what I need to feel, and then get to whatever the next step is, whatever that might look like. It's also a way to connect. I mean, have you ever gone to a concert, your favorite band? Like that whole room feels like it's connected. Everybody's screaming and singing and swaying and like into the music. That deep connection doesn't have to be verbal. Just being understanding and connecting through the songs or the tempo or the music or how it makes you feel. All of those are different ways to connect that don't require you to communicate verbally to understand it. It's also a shared experience. Like I said with the concert, I love going to concerts. To me, it's like this huge, it's a connection with so many people that get it. They get it. Like they love this band as much as I do. They get these vibes, the feelings. Maybe they've been there before. And it's very it's undescribable, honestly. From someone who has alexithymia, it's undescribable feeling. I guess I haven't learned how to label that feeling yet. But it's really important to know that music isn't just fun, or it isn't just kind of for recreation. It can be used in so many ways, and it has so much value when you're helping someone who's struggling with mental health, or if they're just in general dysregulated temporarily. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned something. I hope you found this valuable. My contact information is here. I'm always looking to improve my equity work, and so I would love your help or any feedback you might have about the presentation. I know that I'm human and I am not perfect, so if there's any feedback you have, please help me do better next time. Particularly, I'd love to hear if there's any discrimination, injustice, harm, or accessibility issues with this presentation, or if you're watching the replay, if there's something going on there, please let me know. I want to make sure this content is accessible to as many people as possible, because I think it can help so many people if they understand how to use this as a tool to help others. So thank you again. For those who are watching the replay, note that Eric and Nancy are two of the facilitators at the program today. So you probably don't know who they are. I'm just going to put that out there. So don't contact them. But you can contact me at my school email, or you can text my my line. So Thank you again. These are the references that I used throughout my presentation. This was a research presentation. It wasn't just me like making stuff up or only using my lived experience, although I did sprinkle in my lived experience here, my own experience with mental health conditions, alexithymia, using music as a way to communicate when you're struggling with mental health or dysregulated. And also, I am a late diagnosed autistic individual, and I also have other disabilities. So this is definitely from lived experience with multiple different angles. Um, if you or anyone you know needs help, please reach out. There's help out there. If you're in the US, call 988. It's like 911 for medical emergencies. 988 is for mental health emergencies, and they will connect you to the support that you need. In addition, in the US, you can call if you're kind of struggling or you just need someone to talk to. There's the warm lines, WARM. So you're not in crisis, you're not hot or red. You're just kind of warm. Something's going on and you just need someone to talk to. The warm lines are manned by peer recovery support specialists, so folks with mental health experience themselves, lived experience, but they are not clinical providers. So if you need a crisis care, I would definitely call 998. But if you just need someone to just talk to, just somebody to get something off your chest or process through, the warm lines are really great. Those numbers are different for every single state, so you do have to Google that for your state. Another resource is the NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness. They have a lot of free peer support groups that for all different types of folks, folks with dual diagnosis, so substance use and mental health conditions, folks who have depression, folks who might be experiencing loss or lost someone to suicide. They're all different groups. Each NAMI kind of does they're all part of NAMI, but each location kind of has their own variation based on what's needed in the area. They are funded, they're a nonprofit, so they are funded through donation. So thanks to the kindness of grants and others, those programs are typically free or low cost. So it's some great resources for you if you're struggling with mental health conditions. I also provide non-clinical support for folks who have mental health conditions diagnosed or either formally diagnosed or self-diagnosed. I don't care about your paperwork. I care about getting you help and getting you the support you might need. And then if you have a mental health condition and any other disability whatsoever. I also have food allergies, so I can even work with folks who have food allergies as their disability. So I'm happy to help connect you to resources, find support, or find other ways to help you find recover or kind of DIY your mental health. I know some of us are like, okay, what books can I read? What can help me? You know, I recognized I have alexithymia. Okay, cool. So I have lots of resources on alexithymia because I had to kind of research it myself and start teaching myself so that I could work with my therapist and we could do it together when she kind of knew what I was struggling with. Once we identified it and I kind of gave her some information, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm struggling with. Take me to the next step. And as a coach, I do that for the folks that I work with as well. So you can always reach out to me. Again, my email was on the other slide. You could text me as well. I tend to not answer my phone because I'm autistic and phone calls are not my favorite. But if you text me, I'll reply. Um, and I will have my website up shortly. I'm still kind of working on it because right now I have a lot of folks that come in through referrals versus needing a website. But I realized it's kind of time for me to put up a website and kind of have something else formal on there, not just folks that are finding me or asking. Anyway, so that was a lot to say, but thank you so much. I really hope you learned something here today, and hopefully you can use music in your mental health toolkit either to help yourself or if you're working with someone else who's struggling. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day.